Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know that I feel good doing things I never thought I
Hello,
could.
hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today at Real Talk by Homes for Heroes. I appreciate you guys taking the time to invest in your success. It's going to be an amazing 60 minutes together. We've got a great show planned for you with not just one, but two professionals in our industry that are going to be sharing their success strategies and tips. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Abby Welts. I'm the National Director here at Homes for Heroes and your host for this month's show. The purpose of Real Talk, if you haven't joined us before, is to truly talk about the real issues and challenges that we're facing in both the real estate and the mortgage industry, and what top professionals are actually doing and implementing to position themselves for success through what is a forever changing world and landscape to better equip us all with success strategies to elevate our industry and ultimately to better serve our clients. So, just a couple of quick housekeeping things here for you guys before we go ahead and get started. First and foremost, these webinars are for you. So, I appreciate you spending the time with us. Please be present. Take lots of notes in a world where we're all guilty of multitasking and having multiple windows up. Let's take the next 60 minutes to help us all raise the bar in our industry, elevate ourselves as professionals, and ultimately serve our clients better. So, like I said, take notes, pick 1 to 3 that play to your strengths and the things that you'll actually take action upon. I want to encourage you to use the chat as well. So hands on keyboards, let us know where you're tuning in from. As we go through the next 60 minutes together, let us know what your key takeaways are, maybe aha moment, maybe something that you want to implement as well. Throw that in the chat. It's going to help you better retain that also. And plus, it's a fun kind of networking opportunity area there also as you're on here. So I see lots of people tuning in and from Maryland. Elena from Tampa Bay. Hey, thinking about you, Elena, as you go through the hurricane. Tomorrow I have family in Tampa Bay area, so thinking about you all down there. Awesome, awesome. Use that chat for sure. Love it. All right. Any questions that you might have as well, please feel free to throw those in the chat too. We'll incorporate that throughout the show, and then we'll also, if there's time sparing, have a Q&A session at the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started together. My first guest I want to introduce is an amazing real estate professional. He has done quite a bit of volume, even in this year, where we've seen a little bit of a shift and change in our markets by serving nearly 60 clients, doing over 8 million in production. He is our #2 real estate specialist here at Homes for Heroes ourselves, serving over 200 heroes in his local area there in the Hinesville, Georgia area. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Tony Duncan. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how are you doing, Abby?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's always a pleasure to be here and share ideas with this group. Going to the first conference we had, it really energized us, and this past one we had has really helped me on the direction we're headed with our business this year too.
Awesome.
And sitting here in Southeast Georgia, waiting on the storm to come through, see what kind of impact we're going to get from that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thinking about you and your family, before I have you kind of give a little bit of background about yourself, I'm going to bring up my next guest. He is, oh my gosh, I've known him for over a decade, which is always humbling to say about people when we encounter each other in the real estate world. He's an amazing mortgage professional, serving over 100 clients already this year, doing 42 million plus in volume. He is our #6 mortgage specialist in the nation here at Homes for Heroes. He's served over 650 heroes so far. Holy smokes. Please join me in welcoming yet another Georgian here, Gianni Saratani. Gianni.
Hey, Abby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. So Tony's in the south. I'm in the north. So we met. It's kind of like the best of both worlds here for Georgia.
I love it. I love it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to start getting an accent as I start talking with both of you here.
As you probably already know, and some of you could probably guess this from my name, I'm not originally from the South. I'm a little bit further up north. So,
I love that. Well, Tony, for those of you that don't have the honor of knowing you, do you want to go ahead and just quickly introduce yourself, give a little bit of history and background that you've come from in the real estate world?
Yes, ma'am. I started my real estate career actually in Florida, 22 years ago. Um, didn't stay in Florida very long. I stayed there a little over a year and in the Bradenton, Sarasota area, and moved back to home here in Southeast Georgia, and picked it back up here again. Um, I've been a business owner, multiple businesses, and when I got into real estate, it really took off for me, and I've stuck with it. I will, just this is the this is the breadwinner. Everything else I do is just for fun to get away from it a little bit, as we all need that time. So I grew up here. It's a small town, real rural, but one house at a time. We're bringing new families in, and when we do, being in a small area, it has its advantages and disadvantages, but everyone we treat like family when we bring them in, and I think that is one of the things that's helped make myself and now my team that I created a couple years ago successful. So we treat them all the same, just like family.
I love that. Oh, such a great way to approach this business for sure, with it being so relational and just taking care of our clients as best we can, just like we do our families. Thank you, Tony. Gianni, I'm going to kick it over to you. I don't know if you heard this, but we've known each other for over 12 years.
I had a full
Almost
head of hair
everybody
when
can
we
say
first
that.
met. That's how long we've been together.
I know, craziness. How about a little bit background about you coming into the mortgage industry and yeah.
Sure, sure. So I originally started up north. Like I said, I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Graduated with a specialty business degree. Didn't really even know what a mortgage was. My dad threw a newspaper clipping. There's my age. There's a newspaper clipping out front of me and says, "Mortgage loan officer make 100 grand first year." I'm like, I don't know what a mortgage is, but that sounds pretty good. Got my first job after 3 interviews. I had to convince them that I could sell anything, and I convinced them. Told them I'd be their top salesperson in the first 2 months if they showed me how to sell loans, and I did. And basically, my first training was sitting at a desk, getting a computer and a telephone book, and saying, "Watch that person learn how to sell mortgages," and the rest is history. Here I am, 23 years later. I'm in my 24th year. I'm happy to say I've been I've survived a lot of the different changes, credit crisis, all the different recessions, presidents, and so on and so forth. And similar to Tony, I take a similar approach to customer service. That is everything. Before anything else, customer service first. I'm 100% referral and organic based. I don't buy leads. I don't do any of that. Homes for Heroes is, I would say, close to 65 to 70% of my business. It has given me everything and more since I started back in 2009. And then I've just progressed every single year. The more I give away, the more we get back, the more heroes we help, the more people we can spread the message to. It's a beautiful thing. I remember when I first started doing Homes for Heroes, and a lot of my fellow colleagues, this was during the refinance boom. They're like, "You're crazy. You're giving money away and you're not taking advantage of all this money." And I'm like, it's all good. I knew, I was in the mindset, I knew the more I give, the more I get back. That's always been my mentality. And, I stand by that. I've been a top 1% producer since I've been with Homes for Heroes, and that's not by accident. That's part of it has been through the success of Homes for Heroes and everything that you guys bring, and has helped me create my own niche. And I have laid that foundation where I am the hero lender in my market. That's how everybody knows me as. So it's been a great ride, and looking forward to however long I have left in this business. But I'll probably be doing loans in my casket. That's more or less where I'm thinking.
Aw. Well, I think that's a really great mindset that most top producers in both industries have is just the more that you can serve others, the more that they serve you back. So it's that give to get kind of mentality. So I love that you guys both share that. It's not often that we get to do a show with both sides of our industry that really truly help shape that consumer's home ownership journey together. So I'm excited to have you both here. It's going to be very conversational. So I've got questions for each of you, but if you want to add anything, please feel free to just chime in, interrupt if you need to. But I'm going to kick it over to Tony first, and just talk about the real estate industry specifically. Tony, what major changes have you seen in the market these past few months? And second part to that question, how have these shifts affected the way that you're approaching your business, if they have at all?
Yeah, we've seen changes, and just like Gianni, we've been in it a while, so some of these changes aren't really new to us. We've seen it before. Um, I think the biggest challenge for someone that's seen these changes before are how your peers, your younger agents, younger loan officers handle it. Because man, we had a total meltdown with some of them whenever the interest rates went back over 5%, 6%, and then 7. Some of them just had a total meltdown. We've been there before, seen it before, but that was definitely a challenge because we were now doing business with people who had never seen that and they were really panicking. So at that point, you have to be the one with the experience and say, hey, settle down. These are things we can do. I would say being on the real estate side, one of the biggest things that I've done and be able to train and teach my agents that work with me is to understand as much as you can on the lending side too, because in order to get someone in a home, you got to first know how to do this. And when you're working with inexperienced on the other side, you can make suggestions. Don't ever make it sound like you're trying to tell them how to do their job, but make suggestions. Um, so interest rates was definitely one. Home prices are still going to be something we have to battle for a while, I do believe. History shows home prices just don't drop. Once these values hit, the values are there. There's comps. There's ways to get these values. So I think that's something we're still going to see. We're seeing people getting qualified now for under 200, but that inventory is almost it's not there.
Mhm.
I mean, so that's a challenge. So what do we do? How do we do this? Do we work our relationships with builders and come up with a smaller floor plan that maybe we can meet those needs? And that's something we're working on here now because like I said, we live in a rural area. I do sell a lot of land. So if we can come up with a plan to have 3 or 4 smaller homes for the younger families or people retiring that can do that 200 plus. That's something that we really started working on in the last month with one of the builders that we have a relationship with. So coming up with ways to counter these things is challenging, but you find everyone that has the right frame of mind to help people, you'll benefit off of it. Um, Inventory levels, we live in an area where we have a constant flow of building and people moving out because we live very close to a military base. So we have a fluctuation. So there's inventory, but again, when the inventory is there, we still have the challenge of those lower qualifications getting them in because of the home prices. Um, the shift in the market. A year ago, anybody could sell a home. It just, they were walking in ready to buy. Now we're seeing a shift back to where it's not so much a seller's market, but it's kind of evened out now. So we're seeing more people in our area offering closing costs, offering incentives. We're seeing houses on the market a little bit longer now. So they're willing to pay and negotiate a little bit with those closing costs. Um, the rental market always plays a part too. The That's really a good spot right now to find buyers. Um, Show them, because the rental market here, I don't know about everywhere else, but I've never seen it this high. People paying this much to rent a home.
Mhm.
Um, so one of the things is to understand what the housing allowance is for those military, and using that, and putting flyers out there, market to those renters to bring in buyers, show them what they can own, and what buying a home does for them, versus paying 2,000, 2,500, $3,000 in rent. Um, the changes, of course, we're all going through now with has not impacted us as much, because our contracts and everything in Georgia were already written
Mhm.
and disclosing these things. We've had a couple of new forms added to what we do. People did panic, and we have lost agents. I just came back from GAR conference. I served at the Georgia level as well. And we've lost about 7,000 last year, I believe they said, and they're anticipating another 5,000 this year. On the local level, I serve on that board as well. We're anticipating maybe a 10% loss locally in agents. So, but it's really how you address it, how you choose to move forward with your business, and if you're not sure which way to go, find someone that's successful. They'll gladly help you.
Yeah.
So,
Without a doubt. So lots of changes, lots of shifts going on, nothing new because it's always forever
Yeah.
changing between you know, supply and demand, buyers, sellers, where the market's going. A couple of things that I heard you say too is work with a really good partner, which is why I'm super excited to have Gianni on here for his feedback as well. You need both to get to the closing table for your clients, and really with where the market stands, listening to their needs and getting creative to come up with solutions to help fit their needs, as opposed to what I've seen other professionals do is try and shift the needs of the consumer to fit your world
yeah.
as well. So you're really just being flexible, adaptable, serving your clients as best you can. Gianni, on the other side of things, with the fluctuating interest rates, I know that has been top of mind. Tony just mentioned that. And the ever evolving financial conditions. What changes are you seeing in the mortgage landscape, and how are these impacting either your ability to serve your clients or how you're serving your clients?
Absolutely. And Tony's spot on. I second everything that he's saying. We're seeing that on our side too. From the lending aspect, as a professional, to be successful in this market shift that started happening a year and a half ago when rates started going up, the value that I have to bring to a client is not just, when rates were low, it was whoever had the best rate. There was really no service value added to it. It was whoever had the best rate. Now that it's shifted, it's all about what I can help the client with. The struggles are obviously affordability. That's the biggest thing. Cash to close. And so we're having to do deeper dives into someone's financials, and they have to be ready to get raw. I will go in and rip apart someone's bank statements and say, okay, here are the necessities that you need to live, and here are the things that you're blowing money on. This is why you're not being able to save for a down payment. If you want to buy a house, we've got to get serious, and you've got to cut out the Starbuckses and this and that and the other thing. Some people will be open to it, some people won't. Those are the ones that will buy, those are the ones that won't. And those are the hard conversations we have to have. I've become an advisor. I'm not a I'm not a loan officer anymore. I'm a financial consultant. I'm advising clients on how to get them to that next step, because it is, with rents being as expensive as they are, it makes it more difficult to save. With the cost of inflation over the last few years, it's made it very difficult for people to save. Uh, Costs have gone up all over the place. So it's been very, very, very challenging. And I see it all the time. And listen, there are grants and down payment assistance programs out there, but there's a very tight window of those that fit into that criteria. So it really is difficult. But as Tony mentioned, I'm starting to see it, at least for the last, month and a half, that it's shifted to a buyer's market a little bit temporarily as things have kind of slowed down a little bit. There's more opportunity. I'm getting more and more contracts with concessions, which is great, but I think Tony can agree that's very short-lived. Once we get out from underneath the election, rates start coming down more. A lot of people are sitting on the sidelines that are going to come, and the inventory is just not there, and it's going to drive prices up. So that's going to be our challenge. We're very, going to probably see another very close market of a very competitive seller's market, and then all those concessions go bye-bye. I'm also seeing a lot of out-of-state buyers coming here because Georgia is relatively inexpensive compared to the rest of the world. So as we see more people retire and more younger generations trying to figure out, their life, they're starting to figure out that it's cheaper to live here, and we're going to see a lot of influx. So our cost model is just going to continue to go up. Prices always go up, especially in a recession. So there's not going to be this, major, cataclysmic foreclosure market. There will be foreclosures and defaults, but not to the level that's going to affect our valuation as well. Certain markets, there'll be pockets like everything. There's going to be changes everywhere, but it's going to be subjected to that particular market. But I think as a whole, we're going to see appreciation, and that's going to make it more difficult, right? Because then we're going to have the same situation. We have more buyers having a hard time, trying to find homes. And I agree with Tony. I've got buyers that are qualified for 200, 250, and it's hard. They're having a hard time finding anything. They're going to have to lower their expectations. That's the one biggest thing I have. I want to buy X house, but I want to pay X mortgage, and those two things don't usually correlate. So my job is to try to find the happy median and counsel them. And a lot of the first-time home buyers, it's like, okay, you're not getting your dream house, but you're getting a home and you're paying a mortgage. So you're owning something. You're not paying someone else's mortgage. It's a start. Like, don't go for the home run. Let's get you into a starter home, build the equity, and then we grow from there. Then we'll get you into the next house in 2 years when you grow equity. So just a lot of coaching, a lot of counseling. I'm getting a lot more investors and second home buyers, believe it or not. That market's starting to shift here. So there's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of, I don't care what interest rates are doing. We've had a career record year this year, despite the interest rates going up. It's all about being able to navigate your audience and know what you're selling to, and having that information and being able to deliver that to not only the end user, which is the buyer, but also to my partners like Tony, giving them that extra information so they can help navigate their clients, and explaining to them what we're dealing with on our side so they can go into that offer making the right choices and making the right offer and negotiation. So it's communication, huge communication, customer service to the nth degree, proactive communication, and being able to deliver after the loan. I find that to be one of the biggest things that we supersede everybody on. Is we're in a transaction for typically 30 days after we contract, normally, or less, right? That's a short window. They're paying a mortgage for technically 30 years, whether they stay in it for that long or not. Being able to nurture that client afterwards and provide value to them, not just hey, it's Memorial Day, or hey, it's this, and doing that. But I actually do 3 different follow-ups. Actually, I do 4. My team does the first one. 30 days after closing, we check in with the client to make sure that they understand their paperwork, they know where to send their first mortgage payment, and just check on them. Make sure they got in, moved in, all that good stuff. 60 days, again, we make sure that they filed homestead exemption. Make sure they know where to make their first mortgage payment. Then after 6 months, I step in and I do a 6-month checkup, because at that point they're ready for a refinance. But I'm also looking at, hey, have you guys gotten life insurance? No? Okay, well, you just took on a $500,000 asset. You've got a whole family here. If, God forbid, you pass away, what's going to happen? I get blank stares. Well, let me help you. Let me put you in front of a life insurance provider of mine to help you protect that asset. Do you have a trust? Do you have a will? Do you know where, all that good stuff. So I continue to provide value. If I see someone throughout the process that's using TurboTax and doesn't have a professional CPA, then I'm going to set them up with a CPA. So I continue to provide value for them along the way, not just a refinance opportunity, but doing that. Every year I do a mortgage annual review. Not only do we look at the mortgage terms, but we look at the homeowners insurance, especially now because homeowners insurance is out of control and it's going, it's getting inflated every time it renews. So we check that, make sure that that's not going out of control. We go back in and we look at the taxes. We audit the tax bill, making sure that the county's not over assessing the property. If not, we're going to go in and help them dispute the tax bill, providing more value, making sure that their costs are down. So those are the things that we continue to do. And not only does that help us retain the client, stay top of mind, but if I've gotten that referral, right, up front from one of my real estate partners, then I can keep tabs on them and then I can continue to ask them for referrals. Hey, are any of your friends and family looking to buy? Great. Well, let me send you over to Tony once I get you pre-approved, right? Or are you looking to buy a second home? Are you looking to buy investment property? I can keep tabs on them and then return that favor back to my partner to making sure they don't go rogue and find some other realtor that their brother or sister all closed with, and all of a sudden, now they're the best thing since sliced bread. No, I keep it within the family, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
So much packed into that. I loved what you said about just being super service oriented, right? Being that advisor or consultant and coach. I'm going to ask you a quick question here, just as a very brief follow-up to that. Do you have any crucial questions that are key to pulling out some of those details? You mentioned you went through financial statements with a fine-tooth comb, which is a little bit different than what we've seen in the past, given where we're at in the market shift. Any key questions that you're always sure to ask your clients to make sure that they're maximizing their investment?
So in regards to what, saving for a down payment, or is it something okay, yeah,
Just the affordability of it all, because
yeah. So the biggest question I ask is, how serious are you? The first question I ask anybody before I even start doing anything about anything, what got you interested in wanting to purchase a home? I find out the need, the real need, not just, oh, well, I want to buy. No, I go deeper. I'm like, no. What really got you interested? And then I get into the deeper, the neurological drive. What is really wanting to? I hate my apartment complex. They don't fix anything. I've got neighbors that are stomping on my floor every day. I get to the root of the problem. That way, when they start to get scared or get cold feet, I bring that back in. I said, okay, you remember what you told me when we first started talking? Do you really want to stay there, or do you want to continue down the process and help me get you out of that? Help me bring you to a better place in life. So I get to the neurological root problem of what's originally driving, because everyone's got an emotional drive to why they're making a decision to change their life. I've just got to keep them on point because there's so much noise. Social media has not helped that. There's so much noise that you're going to encounter during a transaction. I've got to keep them focused on why they started here from the beginning. That way there, I can continue to dig into their finances. I can continue to help them help themselves, because most people end up talking themselves out of the transaction before we've even gotten a chance to really dig our hooks in.
Wow, very well said. I love that you get to the root motivation of it, because that is a great thing to keep front and center, and to go through a little bit of pain, right, to get to the other side of where you're hoping to get them as well.
And my team knows that too. Like when I've done pre-approving the client, we do this loan summary sheet that kind of breaks down all the nuts and bolts of what we're dealing with. And I actually have a section in there. It's called NEPQ, which is the neurological emotional persuasion questions that I've asked that driving them. So my team knows exactly who we're dealing with, what their needs are, what their wants are, so we can adhere to that. Because I'm not always on every conversation. So if my assistants are having those conversations, they know what's going on. My processor knows what's going on. Even my underwriter knows what's going on. So everybody understands the client's drive. And that's why we're able to kind of curtail a specialized loan process for each person, because it's an experience. Everyone's going to have a different experience, and we want that to be consistent but unique to the individual needs of the person.
Wow, I love it. I love it. And you're getting a lot of love in the chat for that one. Also, I think that works on both sides of the deal, right? Finding and uncovering their motivation and helping them
Absolutely.
get there for sure.
And remind them. Yeah, just like you said, you have to remind them It's the same way I tell agents all the time. They sent me 30 homes. Okay, did you match those homes to your initial interview? Because I guarantee you, probably about 2/3 of them don't have what they're looking for. And when you remind them of that, their list just got completely shortened. So yeah, it's definitely get to know them. You got to listen to learn, and so be a listener first.
Yeah, without a doubt. Kind of why I phrased that question for both of you too. Like key questions that you ask, a really good answer stems from a really well written or well crafted question to get to the heart of that for sure. You guys are both, I know, very people oriented people. We make our bread and butter from being in front of clients and interacting with clients. I'm going to throw this question to you both. Tony, I'm going to kick it to you first. With everything going on and even looking ahead to 2025 a little bit, what are you doing to streamline your processes, or maybe integrate some automation of some form so that you can stay out there interacting with clients, and serving them as best you can?
Wow, you would hit me with the technology. That's my weakness. I just came back from conference, as I mentioned earlier, and I love going to those because I get education at those that you don't get at your board level. And a lot of that has to do with technology. And I learned a lot of cool apps. I haven't had time to play with all of them yet. I've only been back a couple of weeks. But one of the things that I want to do is really automate my life where I can, which will free up more time to spend with the people. And these are some things I've discussed with Michelle, who's my wife, works with me. So being able to automate where we can, there was so many apps out there that kicks out spam mail, and the amount of spam mail, if you've been in this very long, you realize it can take an abundance of time just to click the delete button to get rid of it. So it weeds this stuff out. So I'm looking forward to putting some of that into place to give me back some more of my time and be able to spend more time with the clients. But education is definitely key. Keeping up with the changes, know your market, know what's going on in the cities, what's going on. There's so much change going on here in Southeast Georgia. We're growing so fast. I've been told, I haven't checked this myself, said we're one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing area on the East Coast, because Florida seems to be full, so now everyone's stopping here. So where, the military strictly was the drive of our market, now we're getting so many people coming back here to retire, that was either served here before or because it's halfway between family members in Florida there. So knowing what's going on in your market, what type of buyers you're working with is definitely a plus for you. Focus on relationship building. Now, this is something when Laura spoke, I think it was in March, we had her building those relationships and those partnerships. It is huge, guys. We've been able to create a couple of partnerships recently. One of them with the fire department that serves two different military bases here. They actually did a fundraiser, and we were happy to accept money for Homes for Heroes Foundation. They wanted to give money back to us, which was great. We thought that was wonderful. And I got a phone call last night, and we have more events planned that we're going to be doing with them. And with that came along, because one of them's wife is a educator. She's over a foundation for education. So now we're getting involved with that. So one after another. So relationships is definitely very important to build your business, and share Homes for Heroes with everyone. Because you don't know, just because this person did not serve doesn't mean they don't have someone in their family that does. And I've had that happen a lot of times. People ask me about it. They didn't qualify, but family members did. Um, and be transparent. Just be completely transparent with everything you do. Set realistic expectations. Don't tell someone you can do something you can't do it, because you want to get people chattering real quick. That's a quick way to do it. I hear it a lot. Um, Offer market analysis. That's free. And if you show your knowledge of the market to people, and hey, this is what your home would be worth. A lot of them don't realize that. They don't know it. So another big one is data. We have access to a lot of data with what we do, our MLSs, NAR. I found out a lot of agents don't really utilize NAR's information they give out, but there are so many numbers peoples out there. They want to see data. And if you do that and you start sharing that, I'm terrible with social media, but if you can do that, people notice it. I'm not, he mentioned early social media. It's got its pluses, it's got its minuses, but I'm trying to learn to use that better. But I do want to say something with Homes for Heroes. Homes for Heroes provides us so much in their tools that I promise you, I've been doing this with Homes for Heroes about 3.5 years now. And we just recently started utilizing the QR code with our personal link that shows that are coming through us. And my wife took it, put it on social media, and she had 2 listing appointments in the first week
That's
because
awesome.
of that. So utilize what's there. You don't have to go out and recreate everything, but understand what you have and put it to use. So one of the things we're doing now is we're getting ready for next year. We're big. I was a big sports person. I played all the sports for high school here, so I support that. And actually, next year I was voted to serve on the school board. So, but I'll continue to support that. But one of the things we do is we put billboards on all the sports teams and all. But I got to notice that we're really inconsistent with what we were putting on those boards. So
Hmm.
we created something. We're doing the yard signs. Every sign we put out a Homes for Heroes sign. Every billboard we do, they're going to be the same. And this is something we created with the QR code on it. So if they're on a baseball field, if they pull up to one of our homes, if they get one of our cards in the mail, it's going to direct them all to that location.
Yeah.
So you'll find out. And sometimes, yes, there's people that's pulling out, well, I just wanted the information, but it opens up the conversation because they went in for a reason. You got to get to that reason, and sometimes it may not be, but we're thinking about selling in 2 years. Well, you know what, I got to eat in 2 years, so I'm gonna stay in contact with you. Are you okay with me sending you? So a lot of preparing for next year is educate ourselves, use the tools that we have, be open to technology, and use new tools to make my life easier. And keep doing the same thing we're doing. Talk to people and build those relationships. Spend more time with the firefighters. Whatever the organization is that you're passionate about, get involved and help them, because as soon as you tell them about what you're doing, they're your advertising. They're going to tell everyone. And I will say this, I know, and I really thank Homes for Heroes for what they did in helping out with the double referral thing.
Mm.
I don't care if it's a double referral, because what I have found out in 22 years is those people, if you do it for them, they're going to tell other people, and it comes back to you. It will every time. So the double referral doesn't bother me. It bothers my broker sometimes, but it doesn't bother me at all. And we have probably had more of those this year than I have any year since we began. But we always give it, and always, always, always offer the program to everyone. Everyone. I mean, honestly, part of license law. If you offer it to one, you're supposed to offer it to all. But I hate to say it doesn't happen out there a lot of times. But offer it to everyone, and you'll watch your business grow and see more people. I like it when people walk in and ask about the program. That means it's getting out there, and it's a whole lot cheaper than going buying your lead somewhere else. I promise you.
Yeah, so true. You shared a lot of great information, Tony, and I know we've got some non-Homes for Heroes people on this call, so I just kind of want to walk that back just a little bit from a purpose perspective and having a passion. You did touch on this, like whether it's with Homes for Heroes or something else that you're passionate about, whether it's supporting youth, whether it's
Mhm.
animals, whatever that may be, for you being able to couple your profession with your passion and a bigger purpose beyond that is a game changer. And all of us, Gianni, Tony, anybody who's in this industry at all, like you literally help build the communities that you live and work in. You are serving the people right alongside you that are your neighbors that live down the street from you. This is what you help build. And you need to become a pillar of your community by doing something more than just helping people buy, refinance, sell, whatever it may be. And the home ownership thing, when you can truly come full circle and give back to the community that you're serving in some way, shape, or form, it will skyrocket your career. And Gianni, you actually touched on this a little bit. Tony, you did too with your partnerships. Tony, you were approaching it from a Homes for Heroes partnership with fire departments or schools or police stations and whatnot. Gianni, you're leveraging your network as partnerships, as professional to get people into, right, that life insurance category, that home warranty category, whatever it may be, like everybody has their own network that they can leverage to help better serve their clients. Gianni, do you have any other network connections that you're constantly plugging into and trying to help add value to your clients in some way?
Yeah, absolutely. My goal is I have a section of what I call wealth partners, which is that CPA, financial planner, life insurance, trusts, all that different category of financial professionals that I team up with. And what we do is we have a symbiotic relationship. So they obviously have mortgage needs with their clientele. So I'm adding value to them with their clients. And then I'm bringing value to my clients by introducing my professional data Rolodex, if you will, to my clients. So it works symbiotically. And it's a way for us to, like I said, not only provide more value for my clients, but also to build another referral partnership that's outside of the typical relationship, where we have realtors and builders. There's our typical relationship, but there's a lot of value to be added, and it brings a lot more than just a lead or a deal, because now you're a professional hub of not only mortgage, but life insurance that goes with the mortgage, and a trust that, God forbid something were to happen to that family, they're now protected on all ends of the spectrum. Because just because we may understand that knowledge, don't think that the general public knows what happens when all this takes place. A lot of people are trial by fire, and then it's too late. If you can educate them on what is going to happen if they don't do A, B, and C, then you've now become their go-to person for everything financial, which now means, just like Tony said, go-to for real estate, I'm their go-to for finance. So no matter what, they're calling me, they're sending me their brother, their sister, their best friend, their aunt, their uncle, whatever. That's how I get the tree, which is I've got the client, they've got their network, I introduce my network, and then they send me to their network, and then it just keeps coming and coming, and it's fabulous.
I love that. That is truly leveraging your network 101 and exponentially growing your sphere of influence by tapping into others, adding value to others, and having them add value back. Because once you help someone, they want to help you in return. It's just human nature. So it does for sure come full circle, without a doubt.
And the Homes for Heroes message spreads itself. Like I
That's
saw
true.
someone ask in the chat, how do I share Homes for Heroes? How do I not share Homes for Heroes? It's the first thing I want to talk about when I get a hero. I want to thank them for their service, and then I want to tell them what I'm going to give them. And when I tell them that I'm giving part of my commission back to say thank you for your service, that's a game stopper. I've won the conversation. It's over. Lights out. I've won that person over. I control the conversation now. They love me because now I've just made them feel special and I've warranted them. You got to understand, Tony can agree, these guys do not get this accreditation out in the street. Most of them are not earning what they're supposed to earn, and they get their flails when the media decides to give that to them. But when they're over, they go right back to being what they were, which are forgotten, unfortunately. But when I bring them back to that level that they deserve to be special in our society, especially when I'm giving them money too at the same time,
Right.
that brings them to another level.
Mhm.
You don't think they're going to pick up the phone or get in their circles and say, guess what I just talked about? Guess what I just got off of? Because they all talk and they all want to talk about what makes them better than their coworker or what. That's what happens. So it spreads itself. So how do I talk about Homes for Heroes? I just do it. I just get it out there to everybody. I don't care if they're a hero or not. I tell it to every single client because they may have a brother that's a firefighter. They may have a sister that's a police officer. They may have a friend that's a veteran. It doesn't matter. You get the message out to every single person, no matter what, and it will spread like wildfire. Promise you.
Yeah, and Tony mentioned this too, and even his advertising. I mean, it's down to the small little details. The littlest of things can make a world of difference. Consistency is a huge one. So just making sure that whatever platform it is that you're standing on or giving back to, we just happen to have a really cool one here at Homes for Heroes. I may be a little biased, but you can do it with anything as long as you're doing it consistently and sharing that with everybody and you're truly standing upon, right, a soapbox or something else that's a cause, because cause marketing works like nobody's business. It's why you see the Snickers bar with we're donating X amount of money to this cause. Like you're going to choose, well, I wouldn't choose a Snickers over some other bars, but neither here nor there. It's why you're going to reach for that Snickers or choose that person to work with when you're opting to have a mortgage professional or a realtor represent you, for sure.
I was just gonna say one more thing. I wanted to kind of piggyback on what Tony was saying about the yard signs. So you lenders out there, great opportunity for you too. I have yard signs. Not only do I do yard signs for listings that says this home is eligible for hero discounts, but then when we've closed the hero, we ask them if we can stick a sign in their yard that says a hero now lives here. Free advertisement. It's beautiful and it's awesome. And just like Tony, I have a consistent message in my marketing. I don't go crazy. I have one flyer and I have one sign. That's it. Because just like his message, I want it to stay consistent throughout my market.
I love it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and skip over the setting yourself apart because you guys have already naturally covered that. And what you've been sharing today. We are 9 minutes out from top of the hour and left in our 60 minutes. So I'm going to throw one final question out to both of you. Looking ahead, I can't even believe this is falling out of my mouth right now, but we are like 5 or 6 days out from Q4, right? Now is the time to either double down on your goals for this year and put your foot to the floorboards and actually try and hit those goals for yourself, and or start looking ahead to 2025 and what that looks like for you and your business. So Tony, you first, as you look towards 2025, what are some key initiatives or strategies that you're implementing now to ensure your business remains strong and adaptable all the way through 2025 and beyond?
So I mentioned some of this earlier. Number one is embracing technology. Trying to let some of that work for me, work smarter. I fail at that, but what I have found out in my market, even though I grew up in this small town, is growing bigger. So business has changed considerably the way I have to do it 10, 12 years ago to what I'm doing now. I always had 100, 130 properties listed marketing myself all the way up until about 4 years ago when things started going crazy. So when you have the product, I always considered myself to be like Walmart around here. If I had the product, 100, 130 properties, then everyone was working for me on the weekends because they were out showing because I had a lot of them. But that has changed over time. So, and that has now I have to do a lot of these things that I wasn't too concerned about before. So I'm learning with everyone else. So keeping up with the market and using the technology, focusing on sustainability. What are the practices that I'm going to move forward with? Um, and the interesting thing is, I always done it on my own. Now I have a team, so now I have to include that in there. So the challenge for me is just because it works for me, it may not work for them. So I got to make sure that I'm doing something on all levels that we can all be consistent with and follow through with. Um, the social media, I mentioned this a few times. I am going to work with that, but I will tell you, I learned something. I think it was in March we mentioned to post this on your personal page, guys. I was trying to use my business page, and I did not get near the response that I do from my personal page. So I have learned that, and actually, I have been going in and setting a block aside sometimes and preparing posts to go out for the next 3 months.
Yep.
So by doing that, it definitely saves time. So I got to sit kind of block my schedule so I can get these things done. So these are things personally I have to do. I've wrote down some other things, relationship management. I don't have a problem talking to people and getting out and meeting people. So I'm pretty good with that. I'm trying to get my team more out involved in that. So we're doing more events. Um, a lot of these things we've already mentioned, continuous education. I can't stress that one enough.
Yeah.
Educate yourself, know what's going on in your market, be creative, and you'll find out as a newer or a new agent getting into business, which I've dealt with a few of those this year. It doesn't always have to cost you $1,000, $1,500 to get your name out there. There are ways to do this. One of the things I teach is open houses. When I sold real estate in Florida, open houses were great. Everyone in Florida would ride around, want to come to open house. You get to meet people all the time, but it was a tourist area. So you've seen that. Here, I can't tell you how many open houses you're going to have, no one be there, but that open house still works for you if you know how to work it. Um, if you the neighbors see the work that you put into it. They don't know how many people showed up, but if they see you advertising that open house, if you go out what I call tell 10, tell 20, whatever, go into the neighborhood the day before and share this and invite people out. That's what people will remember. And they're not even going to know no one showed up. But what they're going to do is call you when they want somebody to help them market their house. So understand those things, that everything is not instant gratification. So what you're working for is the future in this business too. And I always tell people I have to eat next year. So if it's next year, I will see you next year.
Yeah.
I've actually talked people out of selling their properties at times and tell them this for you. I think you may want to look at this, talk to your financial advisor, whoever it is, but now may not be the time. And when people understand that you care enough to walk away from that and not just want to put a sign in their property, they respect that and they're going to tell other people. So get your name out there. And just have a positive impact on people. And 2025 will be great.
Yeah. I love that. Play to your strengths, hire for your weaknesses, educate yourself so you can educate your clients. All great things on there. Gianni, I know we're running tight on time, so I'm just going to kick that same question right over to you.
Sure. I'll tell you one of the biggest things that I'm leveraging right now. I was asked to join a television show a year ago. This go around. It's been great. My whole model is getting out into the community and showcasing hero businesses, hero like stories, So I'm bringing Homes for Heroes to like a national televised level. It's been great for me because it's opened the door up for the ability to get into the hero community and showcase more heroes, and it's helped build my brand as well. So it works on two levels. So that's one thing. Some I can't really share it right now, but some bigger things are coming with that, coming down the pipe. So and similar to Tony, there's a dynamic shift going on in the entire real estate world. I know it kind of is focused on realtors, but lenders have a part in this. And it's the same thing that happened in 2008 to us lenders when they came in and redid our whole industry. There was a lot of attrition, and what it did was it separated those that are serious about this profession and those that are half in. The half ins, they're going away. Those that are serious are going to go to the next level. And you'll see that those that stick by are going to profit. If you could just learn to understand what's going on in this market, and you have to brand yourself. And as much as I hate social media, I am as well having to go into that model and deal with it. I am posting more. I actually hired a coach because I'm no good at this. I'm old school. I'm the guy that knocked on doors. Like that's how old I am. Okay. So bottom line is that it's part of the industry. You can either, deal with it or get run over, and I choose to not get run over. So I know it's a part of the business. I need to do that. But at the same time, it's just like Tony said, you've got to be out there in the public. You've got to be out there. You can have a social media presence, but you also have to back it up by being out there and developing relationships, getting out and shaking hands, kissing babies, all that good stuff. It all works symbiotically. If you can master both of those, you're unstoppable because 90% of the people are trying to figure it out. If you can go do it while everyone's trying to figure it out, you're going to surpass that, and the upper echelon of the industries are going to make it. And 2025, 2026, I see as being two of the best years in real estate by far, both for lenders and realtors, because it's coming. Once the rates drop, it's coming. And it's not even just about rates, it's about the pent-up demand and people wanting to better their lives. A lot of people have been renting for too long. They missed the first window, which is 2020. They missed the second window, and now here's the third. 3 strikes, you're out. So I think a lot of people are starting to realize they've got one more shot to get in and get it done and start building equity and growth. And if you're there to help counsel them and guide them and be the master of your profession and be the counsel and the voice that they trust, you're going to win the business. Yeah. And not a lot of people are willing to put in the work to do it. That's the bottom line. That's what's going to separate you from everybody else. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to build a model that you will absolutely go out and do? Because we'll all say we'll do something. It's like me. That's why I hired a coach. I can go ahead and say I'm going to learn how to do social media. I don't have time to do that. I need someone to crack the whip on me and tell me I need to post this and post that and do this and do that. That's why I hired a coach. So don't be afraid, like Tony said, to continue education, because we need that. As much as I've been in the business, I still need to learn because everything changes so rapidly that it has to continue. You have to continue to grow with it. That's how you stay ahead of it.
Couldn't agree with you more. Very well said to both of you. I really appreciate your guys' time. There's been so many great takeaways here. Gianni, your last point about just doing it, right? This is why Nike's slogan was so good. Just do it. The most important word in there is just. It's that little hesitation that we all have when we know something and we know we're supposed to do it. And we're like, how do you get over that hump? You just gotta keep moving forward and putting it into action. And those that take action in Q4 of this year, when there's projected to be the most listings ever in this year alone taking place in Q4, are really going to help set themselves up for success in 2025 once we start maybe seeing a little bit of that attrition come through. And you'll be primed for an opportunity for success next year and beyond. You guys, such a wealth of knowledge, so much great experience and great things. I see some things coming through in chat. Usually we don't do this. This isn't supposed to be a sales pitch. This is what we do here at Homes for Heroes. We pour into one another and we openly share and do stuff. So if you're interested in joining Homes for Heroes, just go to homesforheroes.com. At the top right, it'll say agents and lenders. You can click on become an affiliate and you can sign up to learn more there. Again, totally not a sales pitch at all here, you guys. this is what we do. We come together as a team and we share our information again to better elevate our industry and serve our clients. So Tony, Gianni, you're
Hello, my
amazing
home
as always.
notary.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
Rebecca. This is Amber with BNN. How are you
I'm
today?
gonna mute real quick. There you go. Oop, and I muted you and Tony. Sorry. But I appreciate your time, your wisdom, your willingness to share with everybody in our industry. Always great to see you guys. So much appreciated. And thank you for everybody else who listened in too. Thank you guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You know that I feel
Making a great
good.
Q4.
Doing things I never thought I could. Smiling in the mirror, I look good. Like I should. I feel